It was difficult to assess. She's got a couple of handlers with her. Now she's on her toes slightly. Drop back to number 1. That's Adaayinourlife. He is a son of Aday. This is the first colt we're looking at. And he has cheek pieces on for the first time. He's a powerful looking son of Aday. Got a bit of size about him. Danny Muscat riding for Mark Usher. Again, hasn't shown a huge amount as yet. Did try 7 on penultimate start. Didn't run badly on that occasion. I'm not surprised that on nursery debut off a mark of 62, they're having another go at 7 based upon what we've seen. But we'll need to step up on what we have seen so far. Though, of course, given the nature of this, that is likely. Drop back to Pretty Green behind, another filly. She has got the cheek pieces on for the first time. They stuck the tongue tie on last time. That was for the last start over 6. That was on second go in the nursery, off the same mark as today. Her life in nursery started off a mark of 63, so she's been eased a couple of pounds subsequently, and they'll be hoping that the trip brings out a little bit better. She's indicated that that's probably what she wants, so I'm not surprised they are having a go over a little bit further. And based upon the run at Nottingham, she suggested that this sort of mark was probably within her. That is Pretty Green for Stuart Williams and Marco Gianni. Number 7 is Ismail. Cheek piece for the first time. Another one that's got cheek pieces on for the first time for Richard Hannon and Sam Hitchcock. It's been pretty highly tried so far, notably in a good race at Goodwood last time when sent off at 125 to 1. That was last start before making this nursery debut off a mark of 46. Really difficult to assess, I thought. Has had 3 goes at 7 so far. They are sticking to this trip. Perhaps the cheek pieces and obviously this grade will bring about a little bit of improvement. She's built as though she'll get a little bit further in time. Number 2 is Life's a Beach. Pat Dobbs, Richard Hannon. This is the main Hannon runner, and based upon what we've seen so far, this 7th furlong should really suit him. He's switching to the all-weather for the first time. He's been pretty solid in the market, so that's interesting enough. And 62 could well be within him. Certainly the stable first string is a nice-looking son of Footsteps in the Sand, and must have a very, very good chance of going better than we've seen so far, now dropping into nursery company. Drop back to Streak Jazz. He's on his toes a little bit. Good bit, actually. James Dorroff and Brislan combining. Again, nursery debut off 59. Based upon the run a couple of starts ago, that could well be fair enough. That's probably what he's rated on. Has had a go on the all-weather once. That was over 6 furlongs. He's having another go over 7 on this first start in nursery company. Didn't show very much last time, but I don't think they'll be too concerned about that because nurseries would have always been the plan. Of those still in who we haven't touched upon, wouldn't mind doing. We've done Mild Reflection. The horse we're losing is That's the Finest, so he's on his way out, so I think we'll leave him there. And other than that, I think we've done pretty much all of them. So I'll try and pick up That's the Finest out on track.
Life's a Beach. Even money favourite here. Pretty Green at 5-1 and 7-1 and bigger than the rest. Right, Rach, what are we going with in our first?
I think we'll just, as it's nursery and literally anything could happen, let's just go with an 11-1 shot in the 8-horse TWISTALINE, who's coming out of the same race as the 9-horse That's the Finest, and also the 3-horse Pretty Green. And TWISTALINE finished 4th, but was wide throughout into the stretch and had to switch off heels late before staying on really well over 6 furlongs in a similar level nursery. I think the step up to 7 will definitely suit Nicola Curry, who won the Silver Saddle over the weekend at the Sugar Cup.
You were there, you enjoyed the day.
It was really good fun.
Good, well done to them.
But she's also a horse that has sat forward in the past, and even though she's drawn 8, there's not a lot of pace on paper, and Nicola should be able to use her to just get a little bit forwardly placed and stay out of some of the scrum that might happen in the back.
All right. Life's a Beach, though. 62 handicap debut and even money, and we can get across to Tom Stanley. He's been looking at them in the paddock.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. 11 to 10 shot is Life's a Beach. Thanks also for the Chris Hughes picture put up. Much appreciated that. He'll never be a true ginger, I'm afraid. But there is Life's a Beach, who's, you would imagine, going to take some stopping here based upon the market. The step up in trip should definitely suit. 62 could be a handy enough mark, certainly the first string of the Richard Hannon runners. But I mean, there are a few who are on nursery debut who it's easy enough to make a case for here. And Rachel, I think there are 3 in here with first-time cheek pieces on, some on handicap debut and some Pretty in Green, who's had a couple of go in nurseries so far, where they'll be hoping that ekes out a bit of improvement. Don't know that the tongue tie did much last time. I think the 7th furlong will suit Pretty Green.
I agree, Tom. I mean, her dam won a 7-furlong 2-year-old race at Chelmsford, and 2 times ago when she was 3rd, she was just outpaced by the top 2, and last time when she finished 8th in behind That's the Finest and TWISTALINE, she had some traffic problems and had to steady in the stretch. Her worry is she can be slow away. So from stall 1, those first-time cheek pieces and Marco Ghiane really have to work to get her out and in position so the rest of the field doesn't come over on top of her.
This is Edge Nibras, who's just being loaded in, grey daughter of Lethal Force. Obviously that Sandrine form pings out at you, although she was well beaten on that occasion. I mean, she's been pretty comfortably beaten on all starts. There was a bit of promise at Haydock a few starts ago. I don't think they've been too disappointed with the run over 7 last time, because they'll have known that a mark was coming. What do you make of her chances?
Well, nursery debut for her, anything can happen, but like you said, there's a couple in here with claims, including Mild Reflection of Jonathan Portman, who won this 2 years ago with Lethal Talent.
Well, that is Mild Reflection then, another one in the first-time cheek pieces. He's just being a bit tricky, daughter of Acclaim. A mark of 48 for this first go in nursery company. Again, has a bit of form in the book. That Goldilocks run wasn't bad at all. When a big price. The Cashew form's not bad either, and was 11 lengths behind TARDIS last time. That was back in distance. She may well appreciate a little bit further here. Richard Kingscott and she just backing in towards the stands. We'll turn around and hopefully go forward, no trouble, into stall number 6. She's thinking about it. Hopefully she goes forward. Let's get up the start of racing tonight and say hello to Mark Johnson.
In the gate. And they're off. And as they break away from the stalls, Street Jazz was first into stride, taken on immediately by A Day in Your Life around the outside. And between runners is Edge Nibras. Racing in a close 4th, That's the Finest. Then to the inside, Pretty Green. Quite keen on that one's outside is Life's a Beach. And then towards the outside is TWISTALINE. At the moment, towards the rear of the field are both Mild Reflection and Issemel. They go into that far turn, 4.5 furlongs to go, and A Day in Your Life has got the lead. The lead is a neck to That's the Finest, 2 racers in 2nd position. In 3rd around the outside is Life's a Beach, and on the inside, now being pushed along, is Street Jazz. Edge Nibras is racing in 5th position. TWISTALINE is in 6th, a little bit deep out on the course. Then to the inside is Pretty Green, Mild Reflection between runners, and Issemel is ridden along at the back of the field. They have 2.5 furlongs to go, and it's A Day in Your Life, taken on by That's the Finest on the outside. Now into third, Edge Nibras, with over on the far side rail, Streak Jazz. Trying to stay on down the centre of the course, Life's a Beach, and they're inside the final furlong. That's the Finest now edges the lead over A Day in Your Life in second place. Edge Nibras is in third. TWISTALINE with late gain together with Mild Reflection racing up towards the line. That's the Finest wins. It may be A Day in Your Life in second, and on the outside, TWISTALINE.
Yeah, That's the Finest scores. A come out of 9, was mounted on course by Luke Morris. Forward, John Butler has had a go in nursery company already, 2 lengths behind Flash Betty, and has another go here off a mark £1 lower. Luke Morris taking over from Tyler Hurd, has seen out the extra furlong very well, for all that they were coming and closing on him towards the line. You always felt that it was pretty comfortable in the end. I'll tie up the places when getting a chance to. Life's a Beach didn't really pick up towards the wide outside. Second was A Day in Your Life. Back in third was TWISTALINE. But Rachel, that was a nice performance from That's the Finest. Never too far away from the early skirmishes. Luke Morris at this stage just gets a little bit lower in the saddle, and he found plenty.
Exactly. Luke Morris had a pivotal move down the backstretch when he moved That's the Finest out and went up chasing A Day in Your Life, who was one of the ones who was leading throughout and did well to just hang on for the minor places. I was talking about TWISTALINE and that form at Lingfield last time when TWISTALINE finished 4th. That's the Finest finished 3rd, and he was really hanging and awkward that day, and he's looked now with one more run under his belt a little bit more straightforward. You can see him on the outside there in the purple silks. Luke looking around to try and get a slot in, but he couldn't get in, so he decided to just push forward and go and push the pace up with A Day in Your Life, and I think that was the pivotal move from Mr. Morris.
Over to his right, looking over to his right, wanting Ray Dawson to just take a pull on Edge Nibras, just let him in, and now he's in A1 position.
Yes, Edge Nibras ran a lot better than her form suggested in the past, and Ray Dawson was able to get her settled nicely after pulling a little bit early, and he waits for the typical Kempton go-to cutaway, and she absolutely flies up the inner, but unfortunately I think the winner's flown down the outside, and you can see the white Australian bridle of the Rod Millman trained TWISTALINE. This is what happened at Lingfield. Even though she was up an extra furlong and trip today, she sort of got out pace, hit that bit of a flat spot before staying on nicely, and maybe some headgear might just get her to engage her gears a little bit quicker. But again, it was another run for her, suggesting that a win might not be very too far away.
Is it the trip, do you think, Rachel, that's beaten Life's a Beach, or was there a bit more to it than that?
To be honest, Life's a Beach just looked slow. Over 6 or the last 3 times, he's just been very badly outpaced, and while he was better positioned in the race today than he had been previously, once Pat Dobbs sort of got at him and asked him to go, there just wasn't any response. He just stayed on. I mean, potentially if they step him up further in time, his sort of